And can we start or wait for 2 more minutes?
I think we should start. I think it's important to be on time. So let's start, please. Dhwani, let's.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dhwani. I represent IIAD and Academy, most importantly. So today's webinar is about communication design. We all know about communication design, but we have experts here who will tell us what are the insights, what is the course about, what communication design is actually about. So we have today Mr. Shiva Vishwanathan, who is like designpreneur, who is the co-founder and CMO of Katenate, and he's into this field of design since more than 3 decades now. We have Shaz. Shaz is an animator, storyteller, educator, and a founder director of Mud and Water Studios. He also has more than 20 years of experience in the industry. We have Prachi ma'am, who is an educator, a designer, a product designer, and she has more than 20 years of experience in the design industry and academia. And to support for your career and to get you the dream jobs to more than hundreds of, to hundreds of graduates, design graduates, we have Rabindra sir here. He'll help you out with the placement part. Thank you, everyone, and let's start. Over to Prachi ma'am.
Thank you, Dhwani, and thank you to all the attendees for taking out time for us on a Sunday evening and joining us. I thought that we'll start the webinar by talking about the story of And. And the story of And really starts with IIAD. IIAD is a design school based in Delhi. We offer undergraduate and postgraduate programs in fashion design, communication design, interior architecture, and fashion business. In collaboration with Kingston University, London, which is ranked one of the top design universities by the Guardian table. So the thought of And, where did that come from? Like, I think everybody knows that 2 years ago, we've all gone through this harrowing experience of the pandemic hitting us. When the pandemic hit, the campus shut down. And for us as IID, this was unthinkable because we are a hardcore campus-oriented learning space. And to imagine being able to help our students with their learning without a campus was actually unimaginable, unthinkable for us. But we knew that we had to do it, and that forced us to innovate, experiment, challenge ourselves, reimagine design education. We had to think of how do we carry forward the same experience which we have been creating in the studio. How do we create it in the absence of a studio when a computer screen gets in between all of us? And the last 2 years, to cut a long story short, I think has challenged everybody's deeply held beliefs. And I can speak personally, I never imagined that design could be taught outside of a studio. But here I sit today, almost just 23 months before we first had to think about it. And we did it for the last 2 years. We've been doing it with our 500 plus students. And that has shifted the way I and my colleagues at IID think about design education. It also helped us understand that there is a gap in the industry, which we were able to identify for a long time when we were placing our students in the industry. But we just didn't know how to cater to that gap. But now that we had cracked how to teach design effectively online, we knew that we could also bridge this gap that exists in the industry. And from there, the idea of And Academy came up. And we've been working on it for the last few months. And we are now ready to launch it as a design upskilling platform. And our aim is to make design education accessible, affordable, and industry relevant. Design is not a theoretical space. It has to be applied in the industry. The world needs it. There's high demand for it. No, there are many enthusiasts who want to make design as a career, but they are either working or studying and cannot take out 4 years for a complete undergraduate program for various reasons. And that's the space that we want to cater to. And the other end is the industry's need for these kind of professionals. So we are trying to, as I said, bridge that. And this is what we're going to do today in the next 1 hour. It's not so much only about and academy as it is about opportunities, understanding opportunities in communication design. So we'll first begin by me telling you a little bit about what we are offering. And then I'm going to hand over to my very capable colleagues, Shiva, who's going to talk about what is exactly UX design, user experience, what is the scope and the career opportunities, and what you will study with our course. Then Shaz, who's an animator, he'll talk about the motion graphics space, and Shiva will continue to talk about digital brand communication. So we're going to cover 3 major areas in the bigger field of communication design, about what that field really is about. And then towards the end of the session, we'll speak about the placement support and the admission process at IID. And finally, we'll take your question and answers. Throughout the webinar, throughout the course of this webinar, if you have any questions, just make a mental note of it. And towards the end, I'll invite you to post your questions. And we are here, Shiva, Shaz, Rabinder, and myself. All 4 of us are here to answer all your questions. So let's begin. What do we create? What is it that we are creating at ANT? We are creating an opportunity for graduates and working professionals to learn and work at the same time. Conveniently timed evening classes allow you to not interrupt whatever is your current plan in life. You might be studying, undergraduate, postgraduate, you might be working, and you don't want to interrupt that, but you want to learn, you want to add. That's how 21st century works. I've been working for 20 years and I need to constantly upskill myself. In fact, pandemic forced me to upskill myself, right? So that's a regular requirement, and not always do we want to take a break from our career. We want to learn as we work. So that's the first opportunity that we are creating. We are a career industry focused academy. So we want to make you industry ready. And how do we do that? We do that through making you work on real world design projects. So we bring to the classroom design briefs that resemble real world problems, what you'll be facing once you graduate from the course, and a strong placement support. Because if we are not transforming your career through this course, then we are failing to achieve our objective that we set for ourselves. That's the seed of AND Academy. And finally, we want to create an engaging online learning experience by combining human support and technology. We are very, very alive and sensitive to the fact that any kind of learning actually has to be engaging. And design is about hands-on learning, hands-on application. And we cannot do it without human support and technology coming together. And that is what, like I said earlier, in the last 2 years, we figured out how to bring these two together, even when we are online. So how do we do that? We bring the human support through live instructor-led sessions by industry experts. There'll be, every week you'll meet your instructor, your mentors from the industry. And actually the evening classes allow practitioners to come and teach, because they cannot leave their job and come to a campus and teach during the day, but they can do that with the evening classes. So thrice a week, 2 times on weekdays and 1 on a Saturday, you'll be live interacting with industry practitioners who will take you through a very detailed, thought out chronology of one topic after the other. You get an opportunity, therefore, to interact with mentors and peers. It's a cohort-based learning. You learn with people together by interacting with your peers. Your peers become your resources as well as are the mentors who bring with them the experience. And we're hoping that the cohort will be a vibrant mix of people from different backgrounds. And that exchange, maybe there's a techie in the cohort, maybe there's somebody who comes from a marketing background, maybe there's somebody who comes from a design background, and somebody who comes, let's say, from a language or humanities background. We all bring our own insights, and then there is the mentor. When this exchange happens, that's what makes this to be a vibrant learning space. You get an opportunity to get feedback on your work and improve. We believe in learning by doing, making mistakes, seeing how others work, discussing your work in progress, and that's how we continuously improve over the course of the program, which may be 25 weeks, 20 weeks, or a year, depending on the program that you choose. So that's how the human support works. And finally, because we are online, to enable this human support, we need the support of technology. So we integrate technology into this. We have a world-class learning management system, the likes of Stanford University, Kingston University, and many, many schools with hundreds and thousands of students. They use Canvas as a learning management system, and we are probably the one of the 2 universities in India using Canvas. So through this LMS, you'll be able to access your class schedule, study materials, assignments, you'll make your submissions, you'll receive your feedback all at one place. And that makes the experience quite seamless, because what happens is that when you come to a campus, you're in that studio and all the information is there in a physical space. Here it's on the virtual space. The next, what we do is we integrate several digital platforms. Now this does 2 things. One is that if I look at how the industry is working, pandemic has brought about many, many changes. The changes were happening even before the pandemic. The pandemic has only accelerated it. The industry requires a lot of tech integration. So if you're today a professional and you don't know how to work on Miro or Notion or Discord or Slack, then you're left behind. And these become the tools through which we are able to collaborate. And on the go, you also become familiar with these tools. So when you go to the industry, you hit the ground running. You don't take time to adapt to these new technologies that your employer may be using. So basically, that's how the learning comes together. In subsequent webinars and workshops, you'll probably get a taste of this as well. But in a nutshell, this is how we bring human support and technology together. And you can continue to learn from the comfort of your own spaces, your own homes, office space, wherever you want to be. So these are the courses that are on offer. We have a PG diploma, which is only for postgraduates if you're a graduate. A PG diploma in communication design, that's a 1-year course. We'll talk in detail about it. Today we're talking about communication design. So PG diploma in communication design, a short diploma, graphic design for 20 weeks, 25 weeks, sorry, that's a typo error. It's a 25-week course of user experience, motion graphics, and digital brand communication, right? We also have an interior design program, but that's something we're not talking in today's webinar. And I'm going to quickly jump and not take too much more time and hand over to Shiva to start talking about the first stream within communication design that we've identified, and that's user experience. I think, Shiva, user experience is something that is the buzzword today, but I think it's also sometimes not completely understood. And you're the one whose brainchild is the UX design course is your brainchild. So over to you, Shiva.
Thank you, Prati. I will try and explain as clear as possible as what user experience design is all about and what you will learn, what you will make, and who will hire you potentially. Rabindra will probably take on further and talk about how the hiring is going to really happen. To start with, I think there is a lot of stuff that we do that's moved online, and we've been doing things online quite heavily over the last 2 years. The new world that we are in is more virtual than it was 2 years back. If you know, we've learned how to go to school, how to go to college, how to go to workplace, celebrate family birthdays, attend weddings online. We know that we've got a screen, but we are doing these as experiences. And there is somebody who's governing these experiences of SAR. It's not just the technology that drives it, it's the design that's sitting on top that makes this experience useful and usable, right? So we do a lot of things using technology. We can stay back in the earlier slide. We do a lot of things using technology. Our laptops, mobiles these days, we write, we learn cooking, we buy a ticket, we actually order clothes, we buy clothes, get directions, or even measure our health and sleep with apps that are there that's driving through our watch and phone. And there is somebody who's governing all this. And that's user experience designers. From a usage perspective, yeah, the technologists are actually enabling it, but the user experience designers are the ones who are actually creating those experiences and making them usable and useful for you and for me. Next slide, please. So why does the industry need user experience designers? Technology industry is desperately trying to create fantastic products for people that is compelling and cohesive. There is no point making a product that is not going to be used. User rejection is supposed to be the biggest reason why technology products fail. So they don't want their products to fail. So for that not to fail, there should be a bunch of people who understand people well, because people are the ones who are going to be using it. We can call it users for now, but users are the ones who are going to be using it. So these professionals understand the users better through good research and getting onto their shoes, or in this word, which you will constantly keep hearing right through the stuff, called empathy. Empathy is about feeling like how others feel about specific things, right? So the idea is to help technology solve human and business problems through their products, and of course through data. And like all the products that you use today, whether it's a Swiggy, a Zomato, whether it's any cab hailing app or anything, it's all got user experience designers kind of driving this stuff in the long run. So that the compelling products are easy to use and keeps you and I hooked to it, so that we'll use it again and again. It's listed as one of the top 20 skills that can be, that is listed as the top 20 skills for you to have today. And not only that, Coursera again is listed as the third best skill one can actually have in the list that is available today. I'm talking about 2020. 2022. 2020 is what you see on screen, but it's kind of moved up the ladder to third. The second best work-life balance, as per Forbes, it says that if you enjoy what you do well, and which mostly all the creative people enjoy their jobs as much as they enjoy life, your work-life balance becomes better. And that's one of the reasons why it is there. And there is phenomenal growth, and there is constant demand for user experience designers, because there is constant demand for products and technology that solves human and business problems. Next slide, please. We'll talk about who will benefit from the course. It could be a graduate from any field or anybody who's got a penchant for creative arts, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because there might be reasons why you see every product and every experience that you use. Question, and you are curious about services that you look at on a daily basis. You probably even list pains, and you probably say that it's, if it is a little bit this way, it would have been better for me. So then there is a potential for you to kind of see these insights from a user's perspective. You probably feel that your skills and competency, and if you're working in some place, is like losing relevance because your work is getting mundane, your work is getting repetitive, and you need a change. User experience design is probably the right place to look for the change, because it's way more exciting than a lot of professions out there. If you seek to learn collaboratively and not necessarily by yourself looking at the screen like we do in YouTube or any other asynchronous method of learning, this is the right place to come in and learn, because Here it is about you being guided, and you'll learn with a bunch of people. For any working professional from allied creative field, you have an advantage, because if you're say a graphic designer already who's working on print projects, an industrial designer who's actually looking for a switch from industrial design, a creative director, an advertising agency, art director, or even an architect for that matter, you understand the basics of design thinking and design as a applied, applied field. So you can use that very well and move on to the stuff too. And then there is tech professionals who are actually looking to, for many reasons, they want to sidestep. They want to make their definition kind of complete. If you're a tech professional and you're looking to make your skill set complete, it's probably a good idea to do user experience design, because not only will you do the enabling part of it, you will also deliver it to the users. So if you're a product manager, a tech architect, a front-end developer, a business analyst, or a project manager, or even a tech startup founder for that matter, and looking to actually look at how can products be thought about, user experience design is a good field to kind of think, switch on to. So this is who will benefit from. What will you learn? No design starts without research. User research has actually gone into a serious domain by itself now. It's a complete possibility that you get enthralled by user experience design and kind of latch on to research and do only research. You actually need to understand user needs and business goals in the research area, other than understanding users themselves. You will understand information architecture. If I give you a pile of information, you will know how to sort them out appropriately and provide a structure where users can move from one place to the other. You will learn all the elements of user experience design, which includes information architecture, navigation design, information design. And you will know how to put it all together in what we call as a design system to build a product. Design sprints are methods in which you can actually run small workshops again and again with the technology team, with the business team, and with probably other designers to make these small units of your product and stitch it all together to make a whole. You will also learn software to make it all happen. Starting from prototyping softwares like XD and Figma, you will also learn Illustrator, Photoshop, and also transitional software where you can move your design to technology called Zeppelin. What will you create? You will build an impressive portfolio. That is something that I can promise you. There is a bunch of projects that you will probably do. You will do simple to complex multimedia websites to communicate about a brand, a service, or probably even a cause, really. You will actually create online publication, which is like a magazine, a blog with multimedia content, which has got images, text, and everything in it. Like it could be your own portfolio site too, which you will do anyway. Then you will be working on a project which is about an online store or an e-commerce site that sells fashion or food or travel. You might have seen many of them, and we will actually do the mobile version and the web version of that. You will also think about a smart idea of solving a everyday human problem. Like, how do you carpool? How do you buy your groceries? How do you schedule your home appliances, or donating used clothes, and create a mobile app that helps you solve those problems very smart. These are the kind of projects that you will be doing as a part of this, and that will make a fabulous portfolio. Trust me, I hire people who actually tell me good stories about what they have done. Next slide, please. And who will hire you? I mean, I will hire you. But then other than that, we will talk about a bunch of things that we will clearly set aside, right? Like, first is technology startups. There are lots and lots of startups that are coming up. Every other day, there are new technology startups that are coming up in fintech, in food tech, in ed tech, in e-commerce. There are people desperately trying to actually give a form to what they think is the solution. And nobody is better than user experience designers to make that form, make it a tangible bunch of screens that's clickable, and create a prototype of sort. Starting from there, they would need bigger teams that kind of runs on, so they will hire. Second is technology product and services companies. They are like large companies like Oracle or Microsoft, Infosys or IBM and Wipro. They are constantly looking for people because they want to do solutions and for their clients and other businesses, if at all. And then the last one is design agencies who are actually using user experience as one of their, who have user experience as one of their competencies and selling projects for their clients in variety of industries. The kind of roles that you can think about being in is starts from the basic user experience designer. There is one small piece that you need to remember, that for each one, this is, I've kind of roughly put a bunch of things together. It's not in any hierarchy, but you can actually go up the rung from being a UI designer to UX designer to researcher to, you can even be a UX writer, because you will be sharp in understanding what the users are. You can be a UX manager managing a team of user experience designers over time, a strategist who can think about what you exactly want to deliver with user experience design, and eventually a digital product designer who, when somebody tells you that this is the idea that I have, you can convert that into a tangible product that can be put in front of people to play around with. Those are the people who will hire you. And user experience designers got this interesting part of it that kind of pushes hard. I wouldn't say user experience design per se. Anything on screen has got an interesting part of it that pushes hard to make people engage better with the screen. So one of the important stuff of user experience design is to make people engage with the screens that you put in front of them. Motion graphics is one such tool that we use to do it. A colleague of mine, Shaz, who's the head of motion graphics in and academy, will walk you through. He's a doyen in motion graphics, and he's been doing this for a long time. You should trust me on this. He will walk you through motion graphics as a diploma in motion graphics as an offering. Shaz, over to you.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you. So hi everybody, as seamlessly as how Shiva turned the ecosystem of the universe of communication design and brought it from user experience onto the motion graphics. Yes, motion graphics. Can we go to the previous slide, please? Yes, motion graphics is a large part of the whole experiential design in the user experience business. Motion graphics has its own territory as well. Yeah, and I start with Uncle Saul Bass, who was a graphic designer, animator, if I may say so, a title designer for Hitchcock and Scorsese. And this is when the graphic design was done and the thought came, why not make it move? Yeah, so that is one of those early successful mainstream examples of motion design, if I may say so, 1960s or something. Yeah, next slide. Simply put, to define what motion graphics would be or is when you put graphic design, illustration, storytelling, filmmaking, animation, and you put them all together in the coolest possible way, there is motion graphics. Yeah. Now, motion graphics gained a lot of, it got a lot of eyeballs when something like this happened, where Dropbox made an explainer video using motion graphics. And you can see on your screen the kind of growth they had in their revenue and the number of customers that sort of came in. So this sort of brought in explainer videos as a medium within motion graphics, like right up there. So I will try and demystify this whole idea of motion graphics and try and explain to you what all we would teach you at the AND Academy and what does this whole business entail. As you see, okay, you want to go back to the previous slide, please? Yeah, so there are some statistics, 200% increase in traffic estimated in the content marketing space. Basically, internet is buzzing with moving images. Internet is buzzing with animated graphics. Internet is buzzing with motion graphics and animation, which all of us encounter on a daily basis. And as the predictions go, nothing is going to remain static on screen. Everything is going to move. So this particular field is really booming, and we will try and make you a part of this. And how we plan to do that? Next slide, please. Yeah, so motion graphics is exploding in popularity. It is used in these various formats. I'm just giving you an insight. In terms of films, you have promos and you have teaser promos and you have title sequences. In branding, you have logo animations, you have commercials for branding, you have channel packagings and stuff like that. within the apps that you use and the kind of motion graphics you encounter in your apps, even at a subconscious level. You might not register it, but all of that is happening. Within the social media, you have content marketing, you have explainer videos. And basically, if you look around, the world is moving. Yeah, next slide, please. What will we teach you? So everything will start from the whole idea of storytelling. Yeah, the whole world is getting into storytelling and the whole experience of it. We will teach you the fundamentals of animation, principles of time and space, and how things move in a given amount of time, in a given amount of space. We will teach you character design. We will teach you how to emote with motions, how to feel sad, how to feel happy, how to feel bravo, how to feel, how to express emotions with just movement. We will teach you the basics of animated pre-production, production, post-production, the concepts of sound as a huge element of branding, animatics as a process of making animations, animated graphics. You will, of course, learn type in motion, and this will be supported by softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, Adobe Animate CC, some amount of Cinema 4D, Blender, and the works. Yeah, now what will you create? We plan to offer these 3 projects in our program. One is channel packaging, where you have a channel, let's say on a YouTube or your own private channel on Vimeo or any other forum, where you will package it. I will explain further in the coming slides what is channel packaging and what does it really mean. You will be creating stuff like brand worlds with characters and spaces and elements of user experience to create animated branding, which sort of goes beyond the logo. Then we will also do stuff like gamification, where almost, if you look around, most of the apps that you use, and the successful ones at that, use gamification as a tool to keep their consumers engaged. And the whole idea of gamification is to make the whole process fun, and before you know it, you are in the middle of it, just through the process of gamification. Yeah, next slide, please. Now, here are some examples of what I mean when I say channel packaging. So channel packaging is to media what fashion is to clothing. It's all about putting your best foot forward. A clean and vibrant animated package creates the mood and helps your audience be a part of the unique viewing experience that is being provided by the content. So below is channel 4 packaging, above is Netflix. Yeah, so the moment these things, these moving images sort of set a tempo and a flavor of what you are supposed to expect and what's going to come next. These are all moving graphics which you would be taught. Yeah, now what is gamification? It is the process of adding games or game-like elements to something, such as a task, so as to encourage participation. Yeah, so the element of reward, an element of moving forward, the feel that you're moving from one stage to another as a method of engagement, which uses motion graphics quite majorly. Yeah. Examples of brand world, and I was talking about gamification and stuff. We have like example here of Duolingo. It's a language learning app. It's like one of the world's topmost apps, which uses gamification as a method of learning a new language. Yeah, if you haven't tried out this app, just check it out, just for the feel of the gamification and the whole idea of how do you learn a language by playing a game. And if you spend like 20 minutes on it, you will realize using these characters. Now, these characters sort of navigate you through the whole process, and and the whole user experience of it that motion graphics adds to the app. It's quite unbelievable. So I urge you there. These are creations of a Mexican designer called Pablo Stanley. You might have heard of Corporate Memphis. I'm sure you're familiar with the look of these things. These are some of the very popular styles that we will teach you to create, to make them move. Yeah. Now, what are explainer videos? This is an example from Samsung that I've got for you. An explainer video is a short form video usually used for marketing or sales purposes that highlights a company's product, service, or a business idea. Basically, it helps you navigate through anything that the company is offering, and it makes a small explainer video to explain to you how that thing works. And right at the beginning, I told you something about the Dropbox doing the same thing and going bonkers in terms of their business and in terms of their engagement. So here is just one example from Samsung. Do we have the audio for
learning in today's classrooms? But how prepared are...
I'm sorry, we'll start that again.
Yeah, this is an example of an explainer video using motion graphics.
With interactive whiteboards, Chromebooks, tablets, apps, and more, technology is an increasingly important part of teaching and learning in today's classrooms. But how prepared are teachers to use these technology tools? A recent survey of K-12 teachers reveals that they're not. While almost all teachers agree technology is critical to student success, 60% feel inadequately prepared to use it. Nearly 1/3.
I'm sure you've seen such videos.
Support they receive.
Yeah, so here you will have an opportunity to create such videos, script them and animate them, do the character design, animate your characters. Yeah, there's another one from Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola is a big company. We work in nearly every country in the world. Your colleagues speak every language on the planet.
Now, this one is trying to explain to you how a new feature on their website works.
Incredibly diverse place. But while we're all very different, we share one main thing. We work together for the Coca-Cola Company. That's a big connection. And the place we share that connection is Coca-Cola Connect. Connect is our new global intranet. It's for you and your fellow associates. It's a one-stop shop for information to help you do your job. It's about news. The Connect homepage is up to date with stories about the company, a deeper look at our business, and the people who make it all happen. It's about tools, finding your paycheck, doing self-reviews, hiring, entering expenses, booking travel.
Yeah, I think we can carry on. Yeah, and what I just showed you actually, yeah, we can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, was sort of digital brand communication. Yeah, with the Samsung and the Coca-Cola ad and the Duolingo thing that I just shared with you. So over to you, Shiva, and back to digital brand communication.
Cool. So user experience, if user experience is about creating products, user experience is about thinking something through and creating the product in some way. And probably motion graphics uses methods of that to embed inside the product too, though it can be used for brand communication. But brand communication predominantly is to acquire those users. It's to make me and you use those products, or basically make people know about the product, make people get the product, and make them use it, whatever the product might be. The product need not be necessarily a technology product. It could be anything. But unfortunately, today's world, because we are living so much in virtual and online platforms, it is important that we learn how to communicate in the digital realm. And that's what it's all about. It's a diploma in digital brand communication. It's about brands engaging with their audience online to create awareness about what they do, to make them consider the product and probably convert them to using the product over a period of time. You actually will learn to create assets like banners, video content, probably use motion graphics too, and campaigns for digital channels like social media, like content marketing, like e-commerce, and so on and so forth. So it includes marketing a product or a service to the right audience through understanding data. And it actually makes digital communication compelling and persuasive. It persuades you and me to start using a product over a period of time, and creating a cohesive, connected digital campaign that is memorable. If you see 5 banners, 10 banners from one brand, if 5 banners, some content, some videos, all of them look like it's from that one brand, like, and that makes it, that cohesion of everything coming together, it makes it possible. Next slide, please. So why does the industry need digital brand communication? I kind of answered that earlier. We spend 3 hours, a little more than, I'm talking about India, this is India. We spend a little more than 3 hours on a daily basis on the internet. That's our average. Can you imagine? So it essentially means there are people who spend 10 minutes and there are people who spend 24 hours. So we kind of even out at somewhere at 3. But that's the average time spent on digital platforms by Indians. This is real data, right? And it's important for us to catch where the users, people, where they, where they are. We can't go, we can't go elsewhere and talk to them while they are spending time on the digital realm. So it is important to kind of be talking to them in digital channels. It's important to create content-led websites and interactive ads as the main thing to kind of talk about your product, the brand's product, and so on and so forth. The industry is constantly creating these brands of sort, and the brands have got to be sold in some way or the other. The products, the services, got to be sold using digital brand communication piece. And digital media is the most cost effective compared to the traditional advertising. It's 70% more cost efficient than standard traditional media. And so the demand for digital design is massive. It's getting bigger and bigger. And the next slide, please. So, I mean, this could be numbers. I'm visiting these 2 things which are very, very key in this stuff. There is, there's 1.6 billion people shopping online every year. And it's important for us to kind of go and catch them where they are, if the brand has got to actually be selling their products and services. Digital brand communication or digital brand communication designers are the ones who are creating these assets that communicate and bring them to that specific place where they can buy for themselves. They can buy stuff for themselves. And you and me are also consumers of that sort. Consumers research online. 78% of consumers research online before even buying a product outside, which essentially means you might be going to a shop. You might be going to a shop for buying a new refrigerator at home or new appliance at home. But how many times have you actually sat in the stuff and kind of understood many such products or similar products to kind of decide that this is what you want to buy? 78% of people do that. So it's important. And then going back to that stuff, which is more than 3 hours is spent on a daily basis on the internet. So we should be there. And that's why it's important to kind of talk to the people in the digital realm on digital brand communication, using digital brand communication. Who will benefit? Exactly the same kind of people as user experience designers, graduate, or if you have a creative penchant and you're actually looking at the font and the color and appreciating things which are beautiful online and offline, you should be working here. So you have an interest already in it. But if you are from a allied creative field, like if you're a designer, if you're a designer or an architect or graphic designer or even a visualizer and a creative director and an advertising agency working in print media, want to move to digital media, this is the right place to do. There are also marketing technology professionals who want to learn design to actually make their thinking tangible. So whatever they think, if they can put it together in some way or the other and show the visuals rather than talking 100 words, which is more powerful anyway, that's what they want to do. This is the right place to kind of study that. So this is for digital brand communication design in specific. What do you learn? You learn about a lot of channels to start with. The channels are not looked at as deeply as you should know. Like content marketing is a channel. Web itself is a channel that is strong enough to kind of hold content and talk digitally to your consumers. And it's divided into multiple vertical channels of sort. There is content, there is e-commerce, there is social media, there is mobile, and then there is advertising, digital advertising. So it's kind of putting it all together and actually making a strategy out of it, or a technology, a strategy out of it is what we will teach you. While we are teaching you this, we will also teach you marketing technology concepts and technology concepts that will support you to achieve the strategy and the design that you want to do and place in front of your consumers. The softwares that you learn are, you will learn prototyping. So you will learn XD, you will learn Figma, you will learn Illustrator and Photoshop. You will also learn some quick and dirty, quickly doable stuff like Canva. You will learn Spark in Adobe and so on, which is about quick ability to build your assets for a brand and publish them in extremely short time. So what do you create? You will create campaigns. You will create a series of social media banners as a campaign. When I say create, it's not just about doing. You will think and do. So you will actually conceptualize for a specific brand and come up with a series of social media assets and create a campaign around. You will create compelling video content for Instagram Reels. I'm sure you enjoy Reels quite a bit. All of you see Reels. We are so hooked on what we used to call, what we still call as doom scrolling, right? Like we keep scrolling till, the cockerel crows in the morning and it's daytime. So creation of compelling video content for Instagram Reels or YouTube for a brand is something that you will do. You will also learn to do infographics, ebooks, and memes, which are for a brand. The reason I'm repeating brand again is because that you will make cohesive things that look like it's out of one stable and not arbitrarily created as separate assets. So it'll all look like it comes from one house. So you will eventually, at the end of it, create a complete demonstrable campaign that talks about the brand, the product, and the features across a series of channels that makes the mega campaign that is your biggest portfolio item that you can showcase to get a job. Let's go to the next thing. Talking of getting jobs, who will hire you now? Technology startups are desperately looking for people who can work on their communication side or marketing team to actually make these assets and push them out. Their internal teams are much stronger in marketing than even agencies outside, so they believe in their internal teams. So technology startups do that. Technology product and services firm like the ones we talked about earlier, like the Oracles and the IBMs, they're all nurturing internal teams for their corporate communications and create their brand assets as they go. So they are the ones who will hire you too. Ad and design agencies, of course, they don't want to be left behind in this entire game of digital. They are playing it already, and they want experts like you who understand digital as a realm. So with this knowledge, you will be able to prove it to them that you have a portfolio and you have knowledge that will be potentially hired. You can be hired as a digital designer, a visualizer, an art director, and you can grow into become an art director or a creative director. You can become a strategist and even a marketing strategist one fine day. That's the entire idea of, who will hire you for digital design.
Thanks, Shiva.
Over to you, Prachi. Thank you.
Thanks, Shiva. Thanks, Shaz. I was, while the two of you were taking us through these three sort of verticals or streams, I was trying to, look at it from the innocence and curiosity of a new learner who's not in it. And, I could actually see a connection between all the three. So the motion graphics is going to be used in both creating user experience, in digital brand communication, how within the digital brand communication, the assets that you're creating are actually creating a brand experience. And it was interconnected for me, and all of them sound exciting, and that leaves everybody with a difficult choice. I just want to quickly also talk about this interesting course that we have in addition to the others, the only postgraduate diploma, and that's for 1 year. It's a 1 year long course with a hybrid experience, which means that your term 1 is full-time on campus. So if you're starting off and you're a little worried that I don't have any design background, though that's not a requirement, by the way, for any of the three courses that we've spoken about, that Shiva and Shah spoke about. But suppose you have time and you want to go through a more rigorous training, then this might be the course for you. So you'd start with us in term 1 on campus. The campus is in Delhi, where you learn fundamentals of visual communication. And that's a full-time on-campus term. In term 2, something interesting happens. You can choose a specialization between the three. Either you can choose to go for UX or motion graphics or digital brand communication. And how does term 2 look like? During the day, you work on an internship. So during the day, whatever basics you've learned in term 1, we get you an internship. You work on an internship during the day. In the evening, you study one of the 3 specialization. So there's going to be a very interesting exchange. What you learned in term 1, you can apply during the day. What you're applying during the day, that experience you bring to the evening class that you are working on. And that creates a very, very interesting way for learning, the combination of these 3. So in the evening, you attend your online classes thrice a week, and you specialize in any one of these, either UX or motion graphics or digital brand communication. And what's more, this is a course that comes with a placement guarantee. Yeah, so this is a course that we are offering with a guarantee of getting placed, primarily because A, you're a graduate, a lot of so that gives you an edge. B, there is a more rigorous learning of fundamentals. C, there is you gather with you internship experience, and you learn and apply between the internship and the evening class. So that puts you in a strong position, and An Academy promises placement after this course. But if you don't want to do a 1-year whole course, then the other 3 that Shiva and Shah spoke about, that's what we can work on. So basically that's the courses at a glance. And if you see, and that's the entire landscape for communication designers, that you can go into all of these spaces wherever you feel the interest, and really it has to be driven by your interest. And that leaves me with you with a question, that which way would you like to go? And from there, I want to just come back to once you choose which way to go, I just want to quickly talk about a few things as part of your learning experience, as part of your experience with An Academy. And, I've been teaching, I think now for 15 years, out of which the last 7 years have been full-time. Before that, I was working in the industry and teaching, and I came to full-time teaching only 7 years ago. But one thing that I'm very clear about, and I've taught a lot of first-year students, and I encounter certain myths that people who enter the design learning space. Design involves creative and strategic thinking. There's a myth around it. There's a misconception sometimes that people carry, that to learn design is to learn softwares. Through the software, you implement your thinking, right? You use the software to execute what you visualize, what you imagine. But primarily, design involves creative and strategic thinking. Therefore, learning design means learning to think differently. And that's a complex thing. That's an advanced thing to learn. It requires guidance and support. It cannot happen without guidance and support. And we make it possible through active, interactive, and collaborative experiences. And I thought we'll do a quick comparison, because a lot of times, another thing that pandemic has done is got us used to pre-recorded courses. And this is not like this is better, that is lesser. It's not a comparison like that. I think I want to present that each of them are different. Each experience, whether you learn on campus, you learn pre-recorded, you learn live instructor-led online, each of these are different experiences. And as a student, as a learner, you need to choose wisely what you want to learn, and therefore how you should learn it. So for example, we will also recommend lots and lots of available free open source video tutorials that you can learn through, and that's fine. But if that's what you want to learn, some just software, some basics, then a pre-recorded would work. But if you want to understand complex concepts, if you want to learn how to think differently, if you want to gain an ability that you can then apply in the real world, not only lip service. So I've also read a lot, or I have listened to a lot of videos and all of that. But let's say I'm interested in psychology and I hear webinars by the top psychologists. Can I become a psychologist? Can I apply that learning into the real world? Or do I need support and guidance and working on assignments to then gain the ability to apply in the real world? If, like Shiva was mentioning earlier, if you like to learn with people, interact, collaborate, grow together, and design is a collaborative profession. If you need that, then you need either a campus or a live instructor-led online way of learning. And finally, you get placement support and get a job, right? And that's something that would be available in certain cases on campus courses, or that's something that we have as one of our USPs at And Academy. And that would be a good note for me to bring in my colleague Rabinder to tell you about the kind of placement support that is available through Rabinder, Rabinder, I'll let you explain it.
So thank you so much, Prachi. I hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes.
Right. Thanks, Shiva. Thanks, Shaz. I think the way you guys have explained everything so brilliantly, I don't think I'm any more required, but I still, try and do justice to this. So guys, I've been in this field for the last 15 years, where I have worked with, I think it's safe to assume, 1,000+ students get career ready. And in these 15 years, almost 15 years, the last 8 years have been in the domain of design, where I've worked with people in graphic design, in UI, in UX, in fashion design. And what I've seen, since 2014 is that the demand for designers, especially in UI, UX, in graphic, the entire communication design, is only growing. And since the pandemic hit us, I've seen that grow exponentially. While my colleague Shiva was explaining who will hire you guys, he used this phrase where, the industry is desperately looking out for such talent. Let me tell you that, he is point on. He is absolutely right. Today, if you go and talk to people who are in PhonePe, people who are hiring for CoinSich Kuber, people who are hiring for Olas, people who are hiring for Oyo, there is this huge gap which these people want to fill in, and they need people like you, right? And there are only two things which you need to do, which will guarantee a 100% success. And I might sound a little cliche on this, like a lot of mothers and fathers tell their young ones, is discipline and attitude. If you add discipline and attitude, if you give numbers to all the alphabets in attitude and discipline, like A is 1 and T is 20, whatever, it adds on to 100. It's a cliche example, but if you have that attitude to learn, attitude to show up, and discipline to follow what you've been told to implement, you can have 100% success. Now, at And Academy, our goal is transforming your career, and we aim at assisting everybody build that career they love. And I've seen people in the past, who have had dream jobs in XYZ companies, and when they get those jobs, they get that offer letter in their hand, that feeling, that happiness on the face. And when the parents call and tell us, hey, you've done a brilliant job, thank you so much for assisting my kid get the dream job, that feeling is ecstatic. And you being that person who can feel that emotion at that point in time, that values a lot, right? And we at And Academy are united in that belief that, if the right tools are provided to all of you, anyone from you, or rather everybody, can develop the skills you need to build that dream career. Now, the first set of tools is the right mentors. Check, you have that. The second set of tools is what you will learn, the content. Check, you have that. You've been through the entire presentation in the last 40-45 minutes. The last and also one of the most important tools is how to get career ready. So I just, we just sat down and, we just built this very easy to understand, slide where we just take you through what your journey would look like. So it all starts with you. Who are you? We will assist you in understanding what are the areas you excel at, what are the areas you need assistance or in, your a little bit of improvement, right? We work on those areas. We help you make those career goals so that you understand that this is where I am and this is where I want to go, right? The one-on-one human-centered approach which we have here is one of its kind, and that's what makes us special. And like Prachi mentioned a few minutes earlier, is our USP, right? We start working with with you on your strengths, your current knowledge, how you move to help you prepare your career goals, understanding what workplace communications are. Why is it important to have a very nice portfolio? Because at the end in design, the first thing any industry or any interviewer will ask, do you have your portfolio ready? And that portfolio will be the collection of all the projects which Shaz and Shiva were talking about. How well do you put those projects in a portfolio? How do you showcase your work, right? And generally what I've seen is portfolio is something which seals the deal. If your portfolio is good enough and you're able to explain what you've done, the entire journey of your work, right from research till the end of your project, you have that job, right? We'll also assist you in making resumes, which is something which hits the desk first of any interviewer along with your portfolio. We will assist you in how to network with people and prepare a world-class LinkedIn profile. What to put, what not to put. Some people have this doubt that if I put my projects on LinkedIn or I give access to people, they might copy it. How to cover that loophole, how to connect with the people in the industry, how to use that networking tool LinkedIn, which is supremely powerful if you know the right buttons and the right strategy to use it. Then we'll take you through the industry. Who are the people outside in the market who will hire you? What are they doing? What is their industry look like, right? Like in the past 2 years, we have seen how digital has grown. Now, who are the big players in digital? Where can we send you? Who are those big four hiring people like you? Of course they are. In what roles can we fit you? What do they expect from you? Those industry insights is what we will hit you with. And followed by that, we'll have a quick assessment to understand where you stand on the stage 3 in terms of what you've learned in your classes, what you've learned in your projects. And that would give me, my team, an idea of what more skills do we have to work with you on. Now, one thing which I can guarantee in this entire journey is that once we hold your hand, we will assist you in finding the right job for you. All right, we will guide you at every stage. Like I mentioned, it would be more or less a one-on-one interaction. So you'll have a lot of sessions with me and other industry mentors where you will get to know what is right for you and where do you want to take that, take yourself from that step to the other. Moving on, the fourth stage is something which is very crucial, is what kind of questions you would be asked. Now, in my experience, I have been dealing with a lot of corporates in the last 8-9 years, especially in the design front. I have mentored a lot of students. I've assisted them in getting those career breaks. And in that process, I have a repository of questions which these people ask. All right from the first question, tell me about yourself, right, to down to the most important questions about your design, your project, and your design thinking and iterations and everything. What are those questions? I'll give you that handbook. I will prepare you on those questions. What could be a probable answer? Now, most of these questions will have a subjective answer basis your work, your personality, and the kind of projects you have done. How to mold those statements into an answer which the interviewer is looking for, right? And after that, we'll have a final assessment of your resumes, of your portfolios. You'll have a mentor along, who will tag along, who will tell you, hey, this is superb, check, all good. And now let's move on, to your next phase. So once all these 4 steps are done and you are ready to face the interviewers, we start with your placements. You will have a regular update through the LMS network, which my colleague Prachi mentioned a few minutes earlier. On that LMS, you will get regular updates on the job listings we have ready for you, what to prepare, how to prepare, what recruitment drives are we doing? So, we follow this process of placement weeks. So we'll probably, for example, we'll have May first week as a placement week, and we have 5-6 companies coming in. You will have that listing, and we will prepare you for those jobs, for those interviews. And for any job you go for, any interview you go for during the entire process of this journey with us, what I can promise you is that you will not go without practicing it with us once. You will have mock interviews before every final interview. No matter you've done 10 interviews, you'll again have 11th mock with me if you go for 11th job. But I'm sure you won't go to that 11th job journey in the first 3, 4, 5 jobs. It'll be done and dusted. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that it will not just happen that, hey, I will just prepare you for 3, 4 interviews and then you're on your own. No. If you go for 5 jobs, you will have 5 mock interviews. You go for 10 jobs, you will have 10 mock interviews. And with each iteration, like in design, you sort of learn something better. With each such mock interview, with each such iteration, you will learn something new, which will help you in the next interview. All right. And then at the end of it, the company approaches you, they give you an offer letter. Some of them will have contracts, some of them will have salary negotiations, some of them will have negotiations in terms of moving to a different city. We will again handhold you in terms of how to take these negotiations, how to understand how you are in a driving position and how to take the negotiations in your stride, because these negotiations will be there. You go to one job, you go to second job, you start something on your own, you will always negotiate for a better package, for a better price, for a better colleague, maybe for a better client, right? So we will take you through these tips and tricks for these negotiations. And just so what I mentioned earlier, 2 things I just require from your side. One is a discipline, and second is an attitude, and rest we will take care of. Thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you, Rabinder. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And moving on, so we are almost at the end of our presentation. Thank you everybody for being so patient. You can start typing in your questions in the Q&A block. So if you go either at the bottom or at the top of your, depending on your interface, you'll find a Q&A block. Go there, type a question, and the 4 of us are here to take up those questions. In the meanwhile, on the screen, you can see your admission process, which is quite simple. If you still need more information, and you should, it's important. It's you're going to invest 6 months at least of your time and your future in this. Do visit the website, download the brochures, the brochure for all the courses along with detailed syllabus, and every other information is available on our website. Do that. You should be well informed, well convinced before you make your application. If you need assistance, you can write to us at the email, it's there, or call one of our counselors, and they patiently will take you through all the details queries that you may have. Once you're convinced, submit an online application. There will be either an entrance test or an interview, depending on which course you're applying for. And that's really just to check whether your interest and choice, whether your passion and choice of course align well, and then receive an offer letter and come on board. So that's where we are, and thank you very much. Back to you, Dhwani. I hope we were able to address what your candidates would need. We'll wait for a little while for everybody to put in their
yeah, ma'am, we have 3 questions as of now.
Please go ahead.
And I'll request everybody to put your questions in the Q&A box, not in the chat box. So one question is, what is the eligibility of PG diploma in communication design?
Dhwani, would you like to answer, or do you want me to answer this?
Ma'am, you can answer.
So because it's a PG diploma, you need to be a graduate, and in any stream, you can be a graduate in any of the streams, and that will be fine. That's the only requirement. Dhwani, am I missing anything? I think that's the only requirement.
Yes, ma'am, that's the only requirement.
Right.
There's another question by Sanidhi. She's a working professional now and she's very keen on pursuing PG diploma in communication design. But she's not sure if she wants to quit her job. So what options does she leave, or like does she have with respect of pursuing this program, PG diploma?
Okay, there are two ways to do this, and I think what I will suggest is for her to get in touch with one of our counselors, because we can deal it better on a case-by-case basis. But there are two options that a working professional who doesn't want to quit the job but wants to do a more rigorous PG diploma is. If you are already working in one of the sectors, whether it is design or whether you are working as a creative professional or not, but if you're working in one of the sectors, even as a techie, if you remember Shiva's slides, if you're a techie who's working in that, in this space, right? What you can do is that you can do the first do a graphic design diploma, then do our motion graphics. Suppose you want to do it in motion graphics, and then do the motion graphics diploma. So basically you do two diplomas, first 20 weeks graphic design, then do a 25 weeks motion graphics. What it will do is that so that you don't have to do the campus term, and we will consider the job that you're currently working on in place of the internship. Okay, so if you're already in the space, we will consider the job that you're working on in as part in place of the internship, and you can do this. But suppose the job that you have is not in the design space. Suppose you are working as a front desk operator in an office or something, which is not in this domain. Then we'll have to consider and see how we can take it forward, whether we'll be able to accommodate you in the PG diploma, or we'll work that out, right, Dhwani?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. What language classes will be conducted in English or Hindi or both?
Primarily, it will be English with a little bit of Hindi. So it's not going to be 100% English, but we'll also have a lot of instructors from all over the country and maybe from the world. And English is the common denominator, right? So if you have an instructor who's comfortable in Hindi, there may be a English Hindi, a more equitable use of English Hindi, but we may have somebody from outside of India who doesn't know Hindi, or somebody from a different part of the country, not from the north of India. Again, Hindi may not be their language, so then it will become more of English, but English. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And what kind of entrance test will be there by Prakshat?
So we'll have an entrance exam, Prakshit, for only the PG diploma course. For all the others, it will just be an interview. And we'll basically check the kind of questions that will be around it will be to check your first interest, because you can't pursue design without being interested in it. We have our ways of checking your interest area, a little bit of visual sensitivity. Are you sensitive? You don't need to have great knowledge about design or skills of design or drawing or all of that, but visual sensitivity, awareness about design, and interest in design. So questions will be around that.
Yeah, so one of the candidate is asking about the course cost for 1 year or month for communication design. So
Dhwani, you want to take that?
Yeah, so the cost of the course fee is 2.5 lakh plus GST. If you opt for the whole post-graduation program in communication design, it has flexible EMI options as well. So up to 24-36 months, you can go for EMI plans. For that, you need to contact me personally so that I can explain you the process and give you the placement, the EMI, the cost. Also, if you go for two separate diplomas, then the fee is different. So that's also I'll share once you contact me personally on my contact number. I'll share the contact number in my chat in the chat box in a while. Yes, ma'am. The next question is in the entrance exam, will it be which subject, like something like character making or animation or logo? What will it be?
It could be any of those. It could be any of those. I do understand the anxiety and curiosity around what's going to be in the entrance exam. But I just want to say that if you're aware, we actually just want to test your interest, that you're actually interested in design. And that we will test through awareness. So it may be about logos, it may be about character, it may be about a two-dimensional composition, so something like a poster. It will be these creative activities. I do know that there's a lot of stress around. I don't know how to draw. I'm not good at drawing. Can I clear the paper? I can just tell you that we're not testing your drawing skills. We'll test your creative thinking. We'll test a little bit of logical thinking, because design requires both. And that's it. And are you aware? So are you able to, do you know what's happening in the digital space? Yeah, but no rote learning, no need to mug up facts and figures and information, no testing of that kind. We don't believe in it.
Or we will not ask you to make a logo or a character. Yeah, it is not set to, yeah.
Okay, the next question is it possible for me to start with graphic designing for the time being, and then I can choose the specialization? Maybe then the girl can quit her job to pursue the internship. So I think it would make more sense to make an informed decision. She's an audit associate in EY now.
Yeah, I think that's also a good idea. Start with graphic design. The term one of PG diploma and the curriculum for graphic design are quite similar, the graphic design diploma. So it's a good idea to start with graphic design, go along, see how it works, and then do that. And if she's a graduate, when if she does a graphic design and let's say a motion graphics or whatever, both back to back, we'll consider to give her a PG diploma. We'll have to look at her prior work experience and her ability to do an internship and all of that to look at the placement guaranteed offer, because the placement guarantee in case of PG diploma comes with these strings attached, right? But if she's a graduate, we'll be happy to consider graphic design plus motion graphics, 2 diplomas, and give a PG diploma.
Yes. How important is it to know drawing before entering the design field?
I'll let my colleagues Shiva or Shaz talk about it. How important? I think I know. I mean, I do know the answer. But
Shiva,
how important?
Wow, it's on me now. Okay, so it's a debatable question. It's completely debatable. People say that you got to know or not know. But I'll talk about user experience per se, right? Like user experience has got multiple smaller things that are there in it. It's not just about drawing. It's got the research field, which is about ability to empathize with who your audience are and your users are, and create a research methodology that will work very well for you to understand the user. That doesn't need a bit of drawing whatsoever. So, and then there are lots of stuff going ahead. If you actually learn the tools that are indicated, you don't need much of a drawing at all, except for some ability to draw boxes, which I'm sure all of us know. So some boxes to kind of indicate that this is the paper prototype level stuff. I wouldn't say the same thing about motion graphics design. Motion graphic demands a little bit more of drawing ability to draw than the stuff. But then I have seen people who are smarter in using online tools to create characters and stuff like that than hand draw. So you would want to try your hand at it and decide whether you're suitable or not, and not go by the way that you think whether you're good at drawing or not. By the way, nobody's bad at drawing. That's a different story. We'll talk about it later. The third piece that I want to actually talk about is brand communication. For digital brand communication, I think it's very minimal. There are lots of other skills that overtake the ability for you to draw, pretty much like user experience design. If you learn how to do your typography well, if you know how to actually create well-defined information design, typography, your color palette is done very well. And if you can actually understand illustration, not do, understand illustration styles, imagery, photography, an ability to marry this all together to create a campaign, you need no drawing whatsoever. But then you got to actually have that aptitude, visual aptitude, which is what Prachi was saying that we are going to test in the beginning, where we can actually show you a picture and ask, like, what are 3 things that you see in it? It could be as simple as that. Need not be actually making a logo, but it's just that. So the short answer is that if you have brilliant drawing skills, if you don't have, don't fret. There are 10 other things that you can do without. Actually, 80% of the stuff can be done without drawing, except for in motion graphics, which will probably demand a little more. Probably 50% can be done without a drawing.
In fact, Shiva, I was thinking that actually what design requires today, when you started off, when I started off, a lot of our communication to, I'm a product designer, or we had to make these elaborate tech spec sheets, which would go to the sampling, which would go all of that. That was all done by hand. But today it's different. I think more than drawing, what you need is the ability to doodle. And I think every human being can doodle. If you can just scribble and doodle, then you can be in design. Shaz, would you agree?
No, I would agree. And
Yeah.
I would not say drawing as a prerequisite to do motion graphics. If you know it, great. If you don't, there are ways around it.
Yeah.
And it would help if you know, and basic understanding of drawing, proportions, etc. And I think
just the ability to read visuals, and engage with visuals. That is more important. How do you put things together on a visual space? That is more than drawing. Dhwani?
Yes.
We probably need a separate webinar only on this.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the course fee for motion graphics? I can take that. So the motion graphics is an advanced diploma. The course fee is 1 lakh plus GST. Again, you have flexible EMI options to pay for it. So, but Chandrani, you can message me. I'll explain you how to go about it. Do we need to do the graphics diploma before motion graphics?
Shaz, you want to take that?
it would help if you do. It would definitely help if you do. Otherwise,
I think it's probably good to talk a little bit about the boot camp.
Yeah, otherwise we have a 5-week boot camp at the beginning of motion graphics. That's why it's a 25-week program where we will introduce you to the basics of graphic design. Because you do need to understand the basics of graphic design before you jump into motion graphics. Yeah. So
actually, it's partly inbuilt into the course.
It is partly inbuilt. If you do the whole thing, it's great. If you don't do it, it's just fine.
So let me just clarify and summarize what Shah said. The 25 weeks of user experience, motion graphics, or digital brand communication. The way the 25 weeks is, the first 5 weeks deal with the fundamentals of graphic design, because that's the basic of it. So we do first take you through that. Then in the next 20 weeks, you study the specifics. Now, if you already come from a design background, you don't need that boot camp, right? And therefore you can join in the 6th week directly also. But that's something that we will review case by case. If you want to do a more detailed one, you don't want to just do the basics in 5 weeks, then the way to do it is do the 20-week graphic design, then do the 25-week motion graphics. So I think there are multiple options available, and the best way to work out what is best for you is to get in touch with one of the counselors. The counselors are constantly in touch with us, and they bring cases to us, and then we advise them whether they feel the need. Somebody from the teaching team also meets the candidate to make an assessment, because a lot of times this has to be done case by case also. Dhwani?
Yes, ma'am. Do you teach graphic design and UX UI together, or is it taught separately?
I think we've just answered that.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same answer. 5 weeks boot camp, rest of it 20 weeks is going to be UX UI. So you will know some amount of graphic design, not everything.
Yeah.
And to add here, if you're looking for separate courses like graphic design in detail first and then UX UI, then yes, these courses are separately taught.
Yeah.
Do you use the same softwares while teaching graphic design and other advanced
I think
courses?
this is a question for you, Shaz. Actually, it's about motion graphics and graphic design together. You know, the same question. Chandrayani asked this question earlier. So will we teach the same software?
Oh, no, I mean, of course, yes and no. I mean, you will continue with your Photoshops and your illustrators and all of those things in graphic design. And as you move on to motion graphics, then there'll be another version of the same software where within Photoshop, you'll be taught animation, and within Illustrator, you'll be taught animation, and you'll be taught some more softwares as well, like Animate CC and After Effects and Premiere Pro and 4D and all of that.
So Chandrayani, and just for everybody's, Photoshop and Illustrator are common visual design softwares which get applied across the board. So that's something that you do in graphic design, UX, motion, digital brand, you do all of that. Then every domain will require specific softwares as well, or specific tools within the software. Right? So Photoshop is like this big. It can do many, many, many things. If you want to specialize as a graphic designer, only you do part of the Photoshop. You graduate, you extend to motion graphics, you need to grasp a few other tools, so on and so forth.
I hope that answered.
The next question is, as user experience contain large variety of things, doesn't it include motion graphics and brand communication? May we know if those basics are taught in UX course alone?
Yeah. You know, the course is actually 25 weeks, and user experience design is not like a hell of a lot of time. So it took me, like Paula Scher says, it took me 30 years to kind of learn what I learned so that I can do the stuff in 2 minutes, right? So 3 minutes. So it takes a long time to kind of get there. But however, one of the stuff that we do is that we'll touch upon the idea of graphic design, like we said, which includes a little bit of brand stuff in the first 5 weeks before we start off on user experience design. But user experience design per se is quite specialized in doing only user experience design stuff. It's very difficult to avoid graphic design and user experience design, so you will learn as much as you will.
See, I also want to say that, I don't want to be mincing words around it, that what you learn in a course is directly proportional to the time that is spent, and we don't want to spread ourselves thin, cover a very large ground, but give you only superficial learning. So we want to cover an area that is necessary, but with right amount of depth also. Shiva, would you agree that if
yeah, that's right. And I also put it in a slightly different perspective, right? How does industry look at it? I think industry has got silos that are very, very clear. They don't expect user experience designers to be brand designers or them to be motion graphics designers. There are people who are set separately for these kind of stuff. If you know the concepts and practice of user experience, you will be hired as user experience designers alone. You will learn how to work with motion graphics designers or brand designers, but you won't be all. It's very difficult to be all in today's world. Anyway.
If I may add, like you will encounter user experience design and digital brand communication within motion graphics, but that's just an encountering. You are doing motion graphics. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, even once you enter the user experience design as a professional, you will find your own narrow lane within that also. As your career progresses. So the roles, like Shiva said, are quite clearly defined within teams. Nobody can do this, like it's not a one-man job, or a one-woman job. It's a team. That's why we say design is a collaborative space. You have to collaborate with people. So it'll be a team working on user experience, and you'll pick up one thread of it, and you'll start being, you'll enjoy that thread and you'll grow in that thread. Dhwani, back to you.
Is the postgraduate degree from IIAD or Kingston University?
No, it's an and academy diploma. It's not, degree is different. It's an and academy diploma.
And ma'am, if you can just share a few lines about why degree and diploma matters in this industry. What?
So they are all different qualifications, and I can tell you that I'm pretty sure that so when Shiva, Shaz and I studied in this country, design was only available as a diploma. Shaz, Shiva, I'm sure both of you did a diploma, right? I did a diploma. Right, at that time, design was not recognized as a degree. Degree is typically, I'm going to get a little technical.
Yeah, we did a 5-year diploma.
5-year diploma, exactly, right? And there were people who could complete a degree in 3 years in our time. So we were studying more for a longer period of time and still coming home with a diploma. And that's fine that was fine for us at that time. Typically, a degree is something that would take you into academic research as well, right? So you are taught, like in IID, when we have a BA honors, which is a 4-year degree program, students have to do academic research, write research papers in addition to all of this. And of course, the fact that in 4 years you experience all of it, UX, motion, you experience all of that. A diploma is something that makes you ready for the industry with functional skills, knowledge, and aptitudes, right? It doesn't take into account that the academic research within the subject. The times are different. For you to earn an undergraduate degree in design, whether it is BA honors, BDes, whatever, you have to study for 4 years full time on campus. A diploma can be anything from 6 months to 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 year, even 3 years. In the industry, I think what is honored is the portfolio. And where you have developed that portfolio, did you do it on your own? Did you do it at an academy, institution, university, whatever? That the name of that university, etc., whatever, becomes a quality qualifier, because that, okay, that university or that academy or that institution would have ensured that you have gone through this learning process. The industry recognizes your work experience and your portfolio. It's not blind to degrees and diplomas and certificates.
Thank you, ma'am. Online means the lectures will be live or videos to be seen and re-seen as per convenience.
So I think it is a little more, it is live, right? B, it is more than lectures. Right now, what we are doing is live lecture. Lecture means I talk, you listen, right? But what we will have is not I talk, you listen. It will be you and I converse, you and I dialogue, right? So A, it will not be pre-recorded. B, it will not be only me or Shiva or some of our colleagues just talking for 2 hours. We don't have that capacity, I think, and nor do we like our voice so much, nor can design be learned like that. There will be collaborative activities. Students will be talking, you will be talking, and there'll be a lot of stuff that will be happening. But all sessions will be recorded and they will be available for reference later. But for the learning to happen, of course, there can be some emergencies when you can't attend a certain session. But for learning to happen, for you to get the full benefit of what we have packed in this course, you need to attend the classes. So if there are 25 weeks and 3 classes every week, that's 75 classes. Out of those 75, due to some emergency, you may miss 5 classes, 6 classes, watch the recordings, but you must attend the classes. The recordings are more, let me go back, school mein hota tha, we used to take notes when teacher is teaching. Those notes used to be what we would refer back to. So I would take the recordings as reference points, but not the primary way to learn. You would not benefit from, you would not get your money's worth, is how I would put it. And that's not how I think Shaz and Shiva and I, we've not visualized the courses with students passively just listening and consuming content.
Next question is, my background is close to UX UI design, but I am interested in motion graphics. Practically, which was, Shiva.
You got to do motion graphics. Very simple. Which essentially means that you know some amount of graphic design. You've been kind of working on, I don't know what that means, close to UX UI design. I don't know what that means really. Close to UX UI design means what? Whatever that means. But basically, I think the right thing for you to do would be motion graphics as a course by itself.
And the rest, I think, Shiva, I would suggest the candidate to talk to one of our counselors. We'll get more details. The counselor will be in touch with one of us, and then we'll be able to guide better further. But in short, what Shiva said, that's the advice right now.
So the next question is this diploma UGC recognized? And do I have to get another degree later on for job hunt? Because many companies I have applied asked for degree.
So if a company requires a degree, then they require a degree. And that's why if you see the PG diploma comes with is a PG diploma, that for us to be able to offer a guarantee, because yes, it is true. Some of the organizations may ask for graduation. If organizations have specifics, some organizations will ask for a master. Some organization will say degree from this university. Some organization will say this degree. So I'm not going to speak on behalf of various organizations. I don't think we are claiming that a 25-week diploma is a substitute for a 4-year degree in design. We're not, neither in terms of what you learn, nor in terms of what it is recognized in the world separately, But what I can tell you from my industry experience, and I think Shiva and Shaz will agree with me, that the design industry is not only looking for, there are separate roles for people who have done masters in design or bachelors in design or diploma. There is enough work for all of this. It's a very vast industry.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is, so this diploma has recognition from which place?
Diplomas don't require recognition, by the way. It's a the question itself is not correct. Diplomas are not recognized by any. There's no agency that recognizes diplomas. And finally, the recognition that counts is the recognition by industry.
Okay. Is And Academy a part of IIAD or separate entity?
Okay, so I don't know if that means financially or what, but And Academy and the team at And Academy is very much part of IIAD as an institution. I've been with IIAD for the last 6 years, and I'm now at looking after And Academy. The founder is the same, the dean of academics is the same. Shaz teaches at IIAD. I teach at IIAD. Both of us have been part of IIAD. We are as much IIAD as we are And. The on-campus classes for the PG diploma will happen on IIAD campus. But yes, these are two separate brand names.
And just to add to this, I think being part of IIAD also gives us a very solid foundation and understanding in terms of bringing these courses to you, right? So of course this is a separate identity, as Prachi said, but the team which has worked tirelessly in bringing such amazing courses, for the industry, for the students to work, study, and then go to the industry. That gives us that leverage above the others, where we can proudly say that the diploma and the courses which we have are exactly what is the current need of the industry, right? I hope we answered your question with this.
I think we are done. There are no more questions now in the queue.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for your time and patience. To the attendees, thank you. And also to my colleagues who have generously given their Sunday evening for this. And with every webinar, I learn something. Though I've sat with them and while all this was being visualized, but with every webinar, I've learned something. And thank you so much, everybody. And just remember that there should be more questions. As I said, it's an important decision, and you should carefully consider all aspects before you commit to anything. And I'm sure there are questions. Don't hesitate to reach out to the email, the phone number. They are available, and I'm sure Dhwani's putting them up also, her own number. Dhwani?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks.
All the best.
Thank you.